Peter, we know each other for many, many years. We have been working with many customers across the world for many, many years, more than 15 years together. And from your point of view in all this time, what do you think has changed? What do you think is still the same? How do you see customers still working with the different technologies?
It changed and it didn't in some way, right? Because if you remember our conversations like with customers 15 years ago were very similar to the conversation we have today, right? So back then was obviously securing the SharePoint on-premise environments, making this kind of centralizing the data for the users, helping with the single source of truth, right? And automating the governance things in the background, right? Just to manage this properly. And
at the end, it's still SharePoint, right?
Exactly. So from that perspective, it's still a relevant story. Now, obviously, before there was SharePoint on-premise, then there was obviously the early cloud, the BPOS, right? And then Office 365, M365, Power Platform and things. Today is Copilot, right? But the conversation is very similar, right? So it always starts from the assessment, from the readiness, preparing the budget for it, right? Making sure it's secure. And it's especially important with the expansion of AI because the risks are much higher, I feel, because like the permissions to the content, right? It's a highly critical thing and it can be catastrophic. So using these AI technologies, you need to ensure that AI knows what to touch and what to not touch, right? To make it compliant with regulations, external, internal regulations, right? To avoid oversharing, to avoid sharing things externally as well. When you're collaborating with partners and suppliers, for example, right? So there is a lot of things to consider once again, but this time it's exciting because it's even more exciting because it's elevating this to the strategic level, right? Because all the organizations, they see the potential of AI, the competitive advantage it can create for them, right? So the early adopters will definitely benefit faster and can maybe, grow much faster or even take over some of the industries. And the one who maybe are more conservative or maybe don't have the culture of quality data and the digital workplace and automation and everything, when it's going to be just the beginning for them, these organizations probably they will see the difference, they will suffer, I think, from my perspective. So Roberto, from your perspective, from AvePoint in particular perspective, what changed in the last 15 years?
Well, apart of course from the going public, that was a big milestone, of course, for the company. From the company perspective, I think we are still, I would say, truth to our, I would say, foundations when it was working with customers regarding, to provide solutions to be able to provide that confidence around the usage of the SharePoint platform, now Microsoft 365, of course, and we can see that even with the inclusion of new technologies like AI, like Copilot, Syntex, repository services, the customers still require the same type of solutions. So those are the same solutions that we have been providing our customers for over 20 years, where we provide solutions to be able to secure their environments, to be able to protect their environments, and to provide them the level of governance that it will be required to the usage of those new technologies that, of course, they sound very buzzwords might be, for example, but still is based on the same technology and the same requirements.
Yes, so it will probably expose a lot of these historical challenges with how organizations were managing their data, security of that data, access to that data, classification of that data. This will be heavily exposed. That's exactly what we see as a partner as well.
Yes, like again, back to 15 years ago, when we used to work with customers, maybe migrating from file shares to SharePoint 2003 or SharePoint migrations from 2003, or even then when we was the jump to the cloud. At the end, same type of questions, same type of requirements. How is the data? Where is the data? How is being shared in the organization? Identify data that could pose a risk to the organization. and how can be better classified to get, that benefit in the organization, which is the value of every organization is the data, that's the actual, the jewel of the company, the lifeblood.
Absolutely. But I think what's a little bit different is that there is more and more automation behind it, right? Because before it was semi kind of automated management, right? Today organizations, they want to have this built in by design, the security things to happen in the background for the business, so they don't have to worry that if this co-pilot is safe for us because someone else, and meaning automation technology, SaaS technology, is taking care of that for you, right? And if there are any issues, then it highlights these issues and then advises best practices how to solve these issues, right? So you don't have to kind of think, what's the solution for it, because the solution will be already there in the built-in.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time that we had the migration project, and it was like, okay, we need to migrate 1 terabyte of data, and now on a daily basis, how many petabytes we have customers uploading into Microsoft 365. So of course, you need the tools to be able to more add automation, to be able to classify the data, to be able to scale, of course.
Also I think it's also a similar thing that what happened to the infrastructure, right? Because initially when SharePoint was small in organizations, not being heavily used, it was like single server environment, right? Where everything is on the one server, right? And then slowly we saw that how these SharePoint farms are growing to tens of servers, hundreds of servers, right? We work with these customers. And interestingly enough, at some point, the market probably realized that this should be somewhere else. Customer doesn't need to hold all these servers, right? It should be just a end service for the business, right?